Okay, let's get right into it. What if your IQ isn't a life sentence? Yeah, for decades, we've all kind of thought intelligence was just something you were born with, period. But what if the biggest geniuses in history were trying to tell us something totally different? We're going to dive in and unpack the actual trainable habits that built their amazing minds.
So let's just tackle the big one right away. Is your intelligence set in stone from birth? For the longest time, pretty much everyone said, yep, that's it. But you know what? The latest science and even the stories from these geniuses themselves all point to a much, much cooler truth.
Get this. Albert Einstein, the guy whose name is basically a synonym for genius, right? Well, when he was a kid, he was actually considered slow. No, really. His teachers just didn't see it. They thought he was missing something upstairs.
And he wasn't the only one. Take Charles Darwin, the man who literally changed how we see life itself. Turns out, he was just an average student. In fact, he absolutely hated just memorizing stuff for tests, the kind of things school made him do.
And the list keeps going. Thomas Edison, he was actually kicked out of school. They slapped a label on him, unteachable. So you have these individuals who completely reshaped our world, and none of them looked like a genius at the start. So what gives? What was their secret? It wasn't in their DNA, and it sure wasn't what they learned in a classroom. It was all about their habits.
This really sums it all up, doesn't it? The old way of thinking was, hey, intelligence is all genetic, but the new science is telling us something completely different. It's saying intelligence isn't something you have, it's something you do. It's a habit.
All right, so let's really bust this myth of a fixed IQ. The big idea here, the thing we're really digging into, is that it wasn't some magic spark they were born with. Nope, it was the habits they did over and over and over again that literally rewired their brains for genius.
Okay, so you want to know the habits? Let's do it. We're going to start with the first two, and they're all about putting in the mental work. I call this section Think and Struggle.
All right, habit number one, deep thinking without input. This is a big one. Most of us, we think we get smarter by just cramming more stuff in our heads, right? More podcasts, more articles, more videos. But here's the crazy part. Neuroscience shows our brains actually get smarter when we shut all that off and just think. This kicks on something called the default mode network, and that's where the magic of creativity and real long-term thinking happens.
So how do you actually do this? Well, Einstein was famous for his long walks. So here's a challenge for you. A super simple takeaway, go for a daily thinking walk. And I mean no phone, no music, zero input. I'll be honest, at first it's gonna feel boring. Then it's gonna feel kind of uncomfortable. But that feeling, that's the feeling of your intelligence actually growing.
Okay, habit number two is called productive struggle. And this is a big mind shift. See, the smartest people, they don't immediately Google the answer. They actually sit with the problem. They wrestle with it. And that struggle, it's not a sign you're failing. It's the opposite. It's the process that's building those powerful new connections in your brain. It's way, way more effective than just having someone hand you the answer. And check this out. Here's a simple 3-step method you can steal right from Benjamin Franklin. Step 1, just try to solve it yourself. Give it a real shot. Step 2, write down your best guess. Even if you're pretty sure it's wrong, write it out. And then, and only then, step 3, you go look for the answer. That little process forces your brain to engage on a much deeper level.
All right, moving on to the next pair of habits. We're calling this section Write and Connect. This is all about how you can build up your mental toolkit by getting thoughts out of your head.
Habit number 3 is a game changer. Write to think, not just to remember. Just picture Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks. They weren't these clean, perfect diaries. No way. They were a beautiful mess, alive with questions, weird diagrams, and half-baked ideas. He wasn't writing to record what he already knew. He was writing to figure out what he was thinking in the first place.
And you know what's cool? Modern science totally backs this up. Studies from places like Princeton and UCLA show that writing stuff down by hand, yeah, with an actual pen, helps you understand concepts way better than just typing on a keyboard. Why? Because it slows you down. It makes your thoughts visible.
Next up, habit 4, building mental models. Here's the deal. Geniuses don't just collect random facts. They understand how systems work. The legendary investor Charlie Munger had a great way of putting it. He called it building a latticework of mental models. It's like, instead of just learning one thing, you take the big ideas from a bunch of different fields and weave them all together.
So what does that actually look like? Well, you might learn about cause and effect from physics. Then you learn about adaptation from biology.
and cognitive bias from psychology, and incentives from economics. When you start connecting these huge ideas, you build something incredible called transfer intelligence. That's the superpower of being able to take what you know from one area and apply it to something completely new.
Okay, we're on to our final 2 habits. I call this section Remember and Recover. And listen, these are not just some nice-to-haves. They are the absolute foundation for a brain that works at its peak.
Habit number 5, deliberate memory training. A lot of people think memory and intelligence are 2 different things. They're not. Memory is the bedrock. Nikola Tesla could build and test entire inventions in his imagination. That's a powerful memory at work. When your memory's sharp, your reasoning gets faster. It's that simple.
And that brings us to our last habit, number 6, protecting your cognitive energy. This one might surprise you. The smartest people do not hustle 24/7. That's a myth. Charles Darwin, he only worked about 4 or 5 really focused hours a day. Here's the key takeaway. Your brain doesn't get better when you're grinding it out. The upgrade happens during recovery, during rest, even during boredom.
So when you step back and look at all 6 of these habits, you start to see something really important. These aren't just a list of random life hacks, right? They're a system. They all work together. The greatest minds in history, they weren't chasing genius. They were building a system in their daily lives that let their intelligence grow all on its own.
So let's just recap the whole system one more time. You've got deep thinking, productive struggle, writing to think, building mental models, deliberate memory training, and last but not least, protecting your cognitive energy.
Look, if there is only one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. Intelligence isn't something you're born with or something you go out and find. It's something you build. You build it one habit at a time.
And that really brings us to the most important question, and this one's for you. Because look, knowing this stuff is one thing, but doing it is everything. So take a look at this list. Which one of these habits are you going to build first?